All right, here we are for the second part of hashtag PB January. PB January. And we left yesterday with the Rasuli deck and the Unifying Consciousness deck. And now what we have, this is embodiment still. We sort of left with inner child embodiment, and now we move on to a brand new thing I'm going to try with these cards in particular, and a couple more that I'll show you. I think I've already actually shown these a little bit before, but here, I've got to straighten the camera. I will try to minimize jiggling as best I can. How are they looking? I've got natural light today instead of artificial. That seems to make a good difference. Oh, you're not even getting the glare on the cards that I can see. I guess the camera's at a slightly different angle than my eyes. Okay, so let's get into it. When we finished yesterday, I was talking about the beautiful flow that the Rasuli Hafiz cards have. And here we have Soul Cards 1 and 2 by Deborah Koff Chapin, whose work I absolutely adore. Her methodology in particular, the way she makes these images, and I like that they are quite abstract and yet very figurative. And perhaps, there was a confluence of things that made me think that rather than reading the words, reading the cards with words, journaling, any of those excellent things, I wanted to somehow break free of the words. And Deborah Koff Chapin making these drawings is a very fluid process that she has, and there is no guidebook to read. And the Rasuli cards, as I said, the guidebook's a bit on the sweet side for me, although there are quotes from Hafiz, which I love. But the whole thing, and reading, I also have two other decks that I'll introduce shortly that are more abstract than I'm usually attracted to. So I thought, well, the abstraction is well, what is abstract? Abstract is something that, like an abstract concept, would be something we all understand and recognize, like love, but is not a tangible thing that you can weigh and measure. So sort of these more abstract decks, I thought. Words are sort of a means of weighing and measuring meaning, and they're I much beloved of myself. I think words are wonderful things you can do with them, but I want to try something else. I'm also, I guess, being stuck inside because it's like sub-zero temperatures all of January. So I wanted to do something more physical than just housework, and I thought dance, of course, Even in December, I kind of had this idea for these abstract decks, or they're not abstract, they're figurative. Oh, here I am talking away, and let's get looking at these cards. Yes, indeed, these are beautiful. And they do suggest, I want them to suggest emotion, and I want to express that emotion in dance or in motion, not so much dance, maybe dance kind of like the Mary Wigman Japanese Buto, very expressive sorts of dance, interpretive kinds of dance. Oops, I gotta be careful here. These are not Soul Cards 1 and 2. I don't want to mix them up. Because words, I want something more freeing, and I guess in art that's the advantage of abstract. or expressionist inclinations is a freeing from the restriction of too obvious a meaning. And because meaning is quite abstract, it's quite subjective to the individual. And I think that I really love how these work together, the Rasuli and the Debrakov Chapin. Oh, so lovely, so lovely, so suggestive of motion, so suggestive of motion. You have, I have a particular. I use I draw spirals in my work very consistently. Just beautiful. So dance and music, maybe vocalization. We're listening just to koshi chimes today, but very often, especially when I'm looking at the soul cards, Debrakov Chapin, I highly, highly recommend you check out her musical performances, a sound bath, but with very beautiful vocalization. I quite often have her in the background, but anyways, I didn't want to talk her there. It's too worth listening. If I was just flipping through cards, I would, when I'm doing this by myself, could be that I will listen to her when I'm trying to do the interpretive motion in reading her cards. That would be kind of a nice thing, wouldn't it? Yeah, that's worth a try. And maybe try some vocalizing myself. I can't imagine a better teacher than her. It's very free. She isn't singing exactly, just giving voice. It's very, very beautiful. She reminds me a little of Lisa Gerard, if she was the vocalist for Dead Can Dance back in the day. Or some Siberian singers I've heard have wonderful, wonderful vocalizations that suitable for. Oh, that is particularly beautiful. Particularly beautiful. I know some people have turned Debrakov Chapin's cards into tarot decks, and I don't want to do that. I want to keep I want to have them just be fluid, but that would definitely be the Hermit. And perhaps the High Priestess. Song of Uniqueness. And color, too. Colors, these are quite somber colors, quite in the Debrakov Chapin cards, although not all of them. There are some, she has some sweeter colors in some of the cards. Rasuli's cards, some of them, these, they're more, he has some very sweet cards as well, although I do like the subtleties of a lot of the colors in both these decks. Okay, let's move along a little more quickly. So, what do you think of that idea? I like the idea of trying to incorporate motion. I say dance, and I guess it would be a kind of dance, but more just to move, and in a way that I don't like that one or that one. That's a little better. Yeah, this spiraling, this flowing, this gazing. Oh yes. It feels so good to move. I'm so pent up by the dogs. I walk the dogs several times a day, but it's so cold that and more scurrying than proper walking. Yeah, yes, much scurrying through the cold. I love these circular, yeah, the feeling, to feel. I want to feel the cards in a way that words aren't the right thing. Words are not the right thing for the way I want to feel about these cards, and so I had always wanted to get the soul cards, but every now and then I would see. So I'm going to take away the Rasule now and introduce the original. The original plan for these cards was the Margaret Peterson Tarot. And I saw it and I could appreciate the excellence of the artwork, and I really, really loved the colors, but as I said, I'm not all that attracted to abstract decks. But this one, every time I saw it, I would think of the soul cards, and I thought, well, I really do want to get the soul cards, so why not get the Margaret Peterson as well, and just see what I think of them together. And so when I did put them together, I immediately thought, well, I don't have the words to say what these cards mean to me, because they are more of a feeling. They have a weight in my body, that wants me to reach. So I don't know how I could really, I guess, to explain these cards and what I'm saying. I should be actually performing some kind of motion for you, but I'm not there with that yet, and probably never will be. I'm not. I certainly do love to dance, and that's really, really, that's very lovely. These Margaret Peterson, the composition is so cubical, so it makes me think of diving into. I don't want to say a box, something like an oubliette, like a memory, like a well, a square well. But it draws you in, but to come out the other side somehow. There's it's like a portal, something like a door, something that will take you somewhere else. When I was a little child, whenever I would see a door or a window in an unlikely place, it might be boarded up or bricked in, and I was always so very curious as to what was there. There's secret doors. Margaret Peterson, to me, seems to be a deck of secret doors. Oops, getting myself confused here. Yes, secret doors, 10 of flames. Really, really like that one. Oh, and this is probably my favorite 6 of coins ever. The equilibrium, the distribution of weight, and just the feet and the palms, like we're looking at a sheet of glass with somebody just pressed there with their feet in their hands. Yes, I think that's just a brilliant 6 of coins. Portals again, the doorways. So maybe the motion, the act of enacting these cards with motion. You'd be going through, stepping through a door, approaching a door, stepping through a door, and then what's on the other side of the door? Isn't that always the question? What is behind the curtain? That's quite a sweet colored one. I don't know why, but there's something very alchemical about that creature to me. And yes, like he's come this way, or that's another way rather than going through the portal. Perhaps I'm there to receive things coming through the portal, going through the veil, the portal. I don't know, sounds maybe too science fiction-y, but the veil. Now, there is another tarot deck that I also want to use in this expressive. So we may come back to we will definitely come back to the Margaret Peterson, because now the Margaret Peterson and the Rasuli, we'll try that too, but first. So the other deck I have, it is also figurative but highly abstract, is the Gnostic Tarot by Chris Leach, which has a fascinating story about a very mysterious artist and a journey and an inheritance that I won't tell you now. Welkin Press he does some fabulous decks. The Odyssean Tarot is one I kind of covet. But it has a pretty hefty guidebook and is a thing unto itself. I'm pretty fascinated by Gnosticism, the religion, and know something about it. So I'll be interested from that the historical theological perspective, and many of the doctrines. There is the Gnosticism has been revived. Anyway, I'm looking forward to reading the guidebook. But before I do that, I think I'm going to use it just as it is, without knowing anything about it, interpretively with these decks, just to see what the image makes me feel. And I really, really like it also in conjunction with the soul cards. So I could no, I'm going to leave the soul cards are wonderfully lucid on either side of these somewhat very chaotic images. Oops, what's happened here? Okay, I gotta turn this rig around. Yes, the soul cards have a, mysterious as they are, they have a clarity that the Gnostic Tarot is, they say nature abhors a vacuum, and clearly so did the artist that painted the Gnostic Tarot. I love very busy, I love all kinds of artwork, but I certainly, I often hear people say that the art is too chaotic. I don't know if I've ever seen something that is too chaotic for me. I'm an anarchist at heart. Oh yes. Well, I don't know about that one. Let's see what's next. That's better. Exquisite. And again, a lot of motion in these abstract decks. A lot of actual, they communicate body postures and tensions to me that seem to be, that seem to have an imperative beyond the narrative, if you will. Yes, and there's something ritualistic about motion, like invocation of deity, or invocation of spirit. You can't just talk about that. You do have to embody it. So these are my decks for embodiment, very much. These are cards I want to feel in my body, that I want to express with my body. And I don't want to burden them with words. So, like that one, but there, that's a little better. It's so easy just to get lost in looking at these beautiful, beautiful images. All right, so that gives you a pretty good feel for the Gnostic Tarot and Soul Cards 1 and 2. But why don't we try, we'll leave the Gnostic Tarot as the solo, and we'll try it with the Margaret Peterson Tarot a Tarot, and on either side of that. Oh, yeah. Well, I like that very, very much. I love this Margaret Peterson card, The Trial. It's very, very esoteric vibes. The whole thing is giving me, the whole experiment feels quite magical in a very, very good way. Oops. Well, you know what? I'm going to bring back. I didn't think. Remember yesterday? If you saw the PB January Part 1, I had Unifying Consciousness deck, which I didn't think. I really, really liked it with the Rasuli, and I think it would be great with the Soul cards, but I categorically did not think it would suit the Margaret Peterson or the Gnostic Tarot. I don't think it would suit the Gnostic Tarot. The Gnostic Tarot, that's a pretty darn somber deck. And the Margaret Peterson, I don't think anybody would necessarily describe as lighthearted. However, I do think the Unifying Consciousness deck would be good with these. It could be that the Margaret Peterson would actually look good with the Surreal Visions even. I have to give that a try. As I said in that previous one, but I'll say again for anybody who hasn't seen the previous one, since discovering TarotTube, the most resounding thing about discovering TarotTube has been pairing oracles and tarot, or pairing decks. And I have just gone to town with that. And it is, currently, it is all of my practice, just pairing different decks. And, well, I do sometimes one's arrangements will really jump out at me, and I will divine a meaning. But much more, they have simply been engaging my feelings physically, very physically, in a very embodied way. And the novelty of that has just it's quite intoxicating. I have been. I don't like the blue and the orange so much. Okay, there we go. That's better. I have just been experimenting with that. Now, I never collected tarot cards. I've been reading tarot cards for a very, very long time, and I thought that I discovered TarotTube about a year ago. I think it might have been about a year ago in March, but I'm not sure because I didn't really discover TarotTube until I got the Austin Osman Spare deck. But it was all kind of a blur. But that wasn't... Well, now, hang on. Yeah, I probably did start working on that in March, April, May, June, July. I didn't get that deck. No, I probably got the deck in June. I keep thinking it was in July because it was originally a birthday present, but it didn't come on my birthday, and we kind of lost sight of it for a long time, and then but Peter Gray at Scarlet Imprint was helped me. Anyhow, it was in the process of trying to get that Austin Osman spare deck that I kind of stumbled across Tarot Tube. It's a miracle I didn't earlier, but I watch an awful lot of history on YouTube, pretty much to the exclusion of all else. And I watch a lot of history, esoteric history, the history of witchcraft, the history of Platonism, all kinds of histories, art history. Oh my God, I watch so much art history and different things to do with philosophy. And so maybe it's not so surprising that I didn't come. Every now and then I come across a video, a history of tarot. I've watched all kinds of histories of tarot. And I came across Simon every now and then. And I think and I always just assumed he had a tarot shop. Okay, let's see. So after we finish this embodiment experiment here, let's just give me 1 second and I will be back with unifying consciousness. Because I think maybe the Margaret Peterson would be good with it. Oh, no. Boo, boo, boo. No, no, no. Oh, no. Oh, no. Had a small calamity. I have my decks all set up strategically on a very rickety little chair, and I just about tripped over poor Boo and sent the cards all over. So I am just so much for forethought, as is so often the case. It's okay, Boo Boo Boo. I also wanted to bring it back because I failed to mention yesterday that the unifying consciousness was written by Lori Little and illustrated by Leo Scopacasa. And it is really growing on me. It was, I don't often buy tarot decks impulsively. I don't really have the money for that. I have to be very, there's always many, many more tarot decks than available money to buy them. That's for sure. So I'm pretty darn selective about which ones I buy because I have to get the ones that I love most of all. Some of them I have to have immediately. That was the case with the minute I saw the Gnostic Tarot. I not only did I buy it, but I called my best friend for her to look at it, and she also purchased it. And she actually took her degree. She did early Christianity was a speciality of her degree. So I knew she'd love it. But it's not biblical. It doesn't. The Gnostic. Its Gnostic components are somewhat. I'll have to read the guidebook to understand that. They're not immediately apparent. It isn't as if, there are visible Essenes wandering about or anything. So, no, clear Mary Magdalene. Oh, yeah, I do like that very much. Alrighty, so there we have. I'm kind of glad to bring the unified consciousness back into the picture because I think it could suggest motion as well. Although, there's nothing. It isn't abstract. Yet it is very perhaps phenomenological. I believe that's a word. phenomenology. It suggests phenomenology to me, as does the Margaret Peterson in a big, big way. Metaphysical, very metaphysical feelings there. Oh, look at that. Oh, look at that. So Margaret Peterson basically just said, yes, please. Yes, please. That is a definite, it's like I'm going to feel like I'm communicating with extraterrestrials, perhaps. Perhaps we are always communicating with extraterrestrials. Or they are communicating with us. I sure don't put it beyond the realm of possibility. Mind you, I don't put much beyond the realm of possibility. What incredible colors. Look at the crone here. Oh. There you are, my lovely, lovely favorite. It's like the Steiner Le Chat Noir, but with a third eye and a crown and a Pythagorean triangle. Oh yes, alchemy and esotericism and a ritual dance. Yes, indeed. I don't know. I think that probably the Starman Tarot would be just, just over the line. Because the Margaret Petersons, like even some of them are, I don't like this one or this one. Some of these colors are too sweet for the Margaret Peterson. But that's okay. We'll just keep going until we find the one. And there it is. That works. All right. So let's wrap up the embodiment aspect. I'm sure all of you everybody has seen the Margaret Peterson. It's not a new deck. I haven't had it that long. I got it early in December, and was right up until Christmas was working with it and the soul cards. I haven't really gotten around to any kind of definitive motion, but I have sort of been working on it in just the feelings of it. And we did the Rasuli and the Rasuli. Oh yeah, we ended with that, didn't we? We'd not got the soul cards. And, well, let's try the soul cards with the unifying consciousness. I know they'll be good, and it's great with the okay. Unifying consciousness can join this family as well, even though it's not exactly abstract, but it is kind of ambiguous. So. Are we in frame? Not too bad. Let's see. Oh yeah, that works great. And then after that, I have just 2 more pairings to show. Oh, 3 more pairings to show. I've kind of forgotten what the prompts are. I've been meaning to make this, respond to this tag all month long, and I don't know what my, wasn't reluctance, but, well, that, as I said, the temperatures have been sub-zero, and so basically the only motion that has been going on around here has been snow shoveling, and so there's like very intense heavy labor in the freezing cold, followed by total cryogenic inertness by the fire. And that has been January, pretty much in its entirety. Lots of looking at pairings. Oops, I gotta be careful. What am I doing here? Oh, okay, well, we'll sort that out after. Oh, yes, the soul cards. So definitely Unifying Consciousness has definitely joined this family tree. And, oh, that's so wonderful. That is so... Let's see what the next card is for these two. I like this one, but... Hello, little friend. No, you're not the perfect one for them, though. Well, that's not too bad. Let's see if we can do better. Ah, yes. Yes. Oh, beautiful. Beautiful. Trees, growth, stars. Starseed. I don't know what all the starseed, that's just, I think that whole starseed, I hear it spoken of as something disreputable. I know absolutely nothing about it. I know it's a tarot deck that I quite like, but I don't know anything beyond that. Really, really wonderful. Okay, so that is a done deal. This will be, there will be further exploration with these, with the potential of this. I'm just going to quickly, well, I'll do that after. Okay, you guys are confused. Now, I think there was aesthetic. I have the prompts written down, but maybe I won't bother because I have the decks here. So I'll just tell you what the decks how I feel about the decks that I've got left here. Well, that was a good impulse to get that unifying consciousness deck. That's really, really really added something significant to a lot of the decks I already have. Okay, so we're going to move on to, I've got three more pairings. I've got a pairing that is very, kind of the opposite of the embodiment thing. That this is I would say that this would be the most insightful and to the point and no fooling around kind of pairing I've got, except for well, I'll discuss that at the end. There are and the reason that it is so decisive and insightful has got to do with Deviant Moon, which is my go-to deck. It is my most used deck. It's the deck I've had the longest, except for the one I learned on, which was the Aquarian. But I've had this deck. I've had Deviant Moon for over 10 years, well over 10 years, maybe even more like 20 years. It's been my go-to deck, and it was the only tarot deck I used until I found TarotTube, essentially. It was I had one other. I had a goddess deck that I liked it well enough, but Deviant Moon, as soon as I saw Deviant Moon, it was just my deck, and it has been my deck ever since I got it. And it's the one I read until I started collecting through TarotTube. It was the only deck I read with for everything. and there's no pussyfooting around with Deviant Moon. I don't see it as a shadow deck at all. I don't think it's dark. I think it's very, very down to earth and common sense, but it doesn't sugarcoat anything. And this deck is, I looked and looked for something to pair with Deviant Moon. And when I found this, it was the perfect thing. And it's Jungian Archetypes Oracle by Giacomo Guccinelli. Who I think wrote and illustrated this. I think it's probably been done on the computer, but he has done it. This is not, this is his work completely. I'm an old school artist. I draw in a sketchbook. I have very, very primitive Photoshop skills, but I don't really actually do much of that after I was delighted with it for a couple of years when I first learned it, and then just went right back to the sketchbook. So if I want a straight answer about something, if I want to do a predictive reading, I would use, if I was doing a predictive reading, I probably wouldn't include the oracle, possibly. because this Jungian oracle is dark and strange. So for my own personal kind of soul searching, without being shadow work exactly, there anything that I do, I'm a darkish person. Not I wouldn't say that I'm depressed. I can get very, very sad, but I'm generally very highly functional, and I just tend to dwell on dark things. So, yeah, decks that are too cheerful are no good for me. Affirmations, all of that sort of stuff. It just makes me feel scornful. I can't help myself. Some of them are very sweet. I certainly liked them for children. You know, but I don't. For work with myself, I things have got to cut to the chase. I don't like things soft and sugar coated, and I don't have time. I just don't have time, and I feel somewhat. Oh my goodness! Well, I've worked in many jobs that required a very much skill in conciliation. So perhaps I have an aversion to too much sweet talking, despite the fact that I'm anyhow. Just so this is incredibly aesthetically pleasing to me, this whole thing. But as I said, with this deck is my, I guess you could say it's my intellectual deck. If I want a reading that is going to tell it like it is, gonna just tell it like it is, and in depth with no fooling around, these are the cards I would use. So I'm going to go through these because isn't this, this is it. The Deviant Moon, I don't pair with anything except this. This is Deviant Moon's own oracle, and I don't use this. This oracle could be a good one with the Surreal Visions. I've been tempted to try it out, except that it just belongs to Deviant Moon, so it doesn't. I haven't tried it with Surreal Visions, despite the fact that I kind of, one of these days I probably will, but for the time being, I use it with Deviant Moon and Deviant Moon alone. It is the consort of Deviant Moon. Yes. I do like very idiosyncratic decks. Generally, if I was reading these cards, I wouldn't be listening to Koshi chimes. I would probably be listening to something a little more. Might be listening to like a thunderstorm or whale song. Or, yes, I don't know. Probably a thunderstorm. I often listen to thunderstorms when I want to think. The ocean would be good. love, love, love that card. There we are. Deviant Moon and the Jungian Oracle. For when you need someone to tell it like it is. That's my number one choice. All right. Next, I bought these decks just simply because I thought that they would be wondrously beautiful together. So, first we have the Golden Klimt Tarot. I'd seen this deck, and I just dismissed it from my mind because it was so obviously not Klimt's work. But then I was watching a flip through, and it was so obviously not Klimt's work, but I quite liked it, and I thought, oh well, this. So when I got the deck, it doesn't makes no pretensions. What's A Atanasaf? I don't have my glasses on, so I may have that wrong. But there is a statement, quite a lofty statement from the artist about these images, because a lot of them are some of them are reinterpretations of actual Klimt paintings, but I think most of them are the artist's own invention, just painted in the manner of. And I don't have any problem with that at all, of course. So I bought 3 of these golden decks. I got this one. I have a sort of an Eastern Orthodox one and a Renaissance one, all with this gold foiling on them. And but when I got this Klimt, I was reminded of an oracle that I wanted to get by. It's In Dreams Oracle by Boris Indrikov, and I just knew that it was the perfect oracle to go with this Klimt deck because. And so I was talking about. Now, this is just an aesthetic pairing. I think that the Klimt cards have real depth of meaning. I think the artworks are really, really wonderful. They're exquisitely beautiful, but they have a philosophical weight as well. These are just these Indrikov oracle cards. They're just they kind of remind me of Erte, the illustrator that Vogue used. I don't know, in the 20s probably. I think so. Definitely in the 20s, of flapperish kind of stuff, but musical. So although this is kind of just a purely aesthetic pairing, it kind of complements the embodiment decks, in that it's kind of perhaps the band, if you will, the music. I find this a very musical pairing. This In Dreams Oracle and the Klimt Tarot. It sings to me. It sings to me, this pairing. So I won't say anything. I'll just let it sing to you. I have a hungry cat up there. So graceful. What a lovely pleasure it is to just look at these beautiful artworks and dream. I'm going to bring this one back. Like those blues. Pure loveliness, even the weightier cards. Oh, that's see, that's a reimagining of an actual Klimt painting, but this I don't think that is entirely this artist. I don't think Klimt ever did anything remotely like that. Or that. So lyrical and harmonious. Just soothes my soul. That's lovely. Dogs have cabin fever too. As soon as I finish this, I will take them for a walk. But it is the 31st of January, so it's kind of an hour. Oh, that's lovely. Ooh, ooh, ooh. It was sort of a now or never situation, and I'm glad I did it. I'm glad I did it because the pairings have just been delighting me all winter long. And even before the winter, but certainly since in the summer I did have quite a practice going, but it's just been kind of free-form pairing ever since November, really. And I couldn't possibly be enjoying it more than I am. Or well, maybe the dancing will make me enjoy it even more, but I love this one. Dreams Oracle, Boris Indrikov, and the Golden Clint. I think it's Lost Scarabeo. I don't have the box right here. Pretty sure it is. Yeah, Lost Scarabeo. All right. So that just leaves one last pairing, and for that, we're going to go back to the inner child. There is, I think, ancestral pairings were one, and shadow pairings. So there's two conspicuous absences in these two pairing videos I've done. I have two oracles, my two favorite oracles. My all-time favorite oracle is the Tree Whisper Oracle. It has its own family of decks, and that would be my Ancestry Tarot of that one. And I'm not showing it here because it really has to have a video of its own, as does my favorite shadow work oracle is The Cave of Sybil by Tierra May. Tree Whisper Oracle is Meg's Black. And it too has its own family of decks and deserves a video of its own. I take both of those decks too seriously. Not that I don't take I take all of these decks seriously as well, but those two, if Deviant Moon would have been a third one for to have, except that Deviant Moon only has the one oracle, so that's why I include it, and it is my most Deviant Moon is by far and away my most used deck. It is my oldest friend of tarot decks. So yesterday, I talked about Brian Froud, but I didn't actually have the oracle. This Brian Froud, I've had this oracle. This particular one is older than my daughter. I've had it since it first came out because I am an avid fan of Brian Froud. And so with the Sacred Wood, Annie Stieg Gerard is such an obvious pairing, isn't it? The Brian Froud. Now, the Brian Froud is also a fairly adult guidebook. It doesn't pussyfoot around either, but just the same, it is the obvious. Even though it's Oracle and Oracle rather than Oracle and Tarot. I'd like to have Oracle and Tarot, but this is, I will do this often. Read the Sacred Wood with the Brian Froud Fairy Oracle, just because it's an obvious pairing that I just can't possibly be improved upon. So we will go through this. Oh, here's Boo Boo Boo. Is it time to go for a walk? I wonder what time it is. Alrighty, we're going to go through this very quickly, my puppy, and then we'll go for a walk. Yeah, both the dogs are sitting here staring at me. So we will get this. We will hurry along. Yes, we will, Boo Boo Boo. Oh, perfect. Just perfect. Very different, yet clearly both have an innate understanding of the magical. I guess I should say that PB January is started by Aaron Lento at Aaron Lento, the Witch of Saturn, and I have watched many of them. The Highly Sensitive Tarot, Julia and Lady Kara, I think, did one, and I have watched many, maybe Jay of Iridescent Tarot, perhaps. I often watch her videos. I'm not sure if I watched PB&J, but almost certainly, since they do a lot of programming together. Okay, I am going to call it quits because I just, the dogs are ready to go. So thank you to everybody who did participate in this tag, and because I have almost certainly seen your video. And thank you anybody who may stumble upon my video. Goodbye for now.